Okay, in this tip, we're going to talk about entering expenses. Very important for accurate bookkeeping, and the government is definitely going to want to know. So, keeping your expenses organized and up to date is a crucial part of running your successful company. So, to do this, it would be under the Finances tab, and we scroll down to Expenses, and it's going to load all your expenses here, and it's going to have a tab up here for adding expenses. Now there's a few options here just to cover. So it's going to show your list of expenses, and you can search by the search term as well as choose dates where you want to search between. You can also filter expenses by the ones that you're currently owing and the ones that are recurring. When you enter an expense, it instantly shows up with an X here for needing to be repaid. So that's helpful to know where you have an expense, but maybe it's charged to a card and it hasn't been repaid yet or something like that. It's a helpful way for you to keep track. You can simply click on your filter and do show only owing, and it'll show all the ones that have an X. Then you can go through and make sure you make those payments and you can mark them off paid. So once it's paid, all you do is you click on the X and it's going to turn into a check mark. Piece of cake. Similarly, recurring, these are for expenses that continue to recur every month. So if, let's say, you have a recurring payment, so show only recurring, and in this case, there are no recurring. Let me clear the filter. Let me just edit one of these, and then we'll make it recurring so that you can see that feature. So recurring each month. So update. And now we see in the list, we see the check mark here. So filter, I can do show only recurring, because let's say this expense, it was recurring every month and it would happen on the 15th of every month, but then now we no longer have that expense. So what we're going to want to do then is do show only recurring, find that expense, and we're going to want to edit it, and then we're going to want to turn this off. And basically that'll just stop that expense from recurring each month. And pretty straightforward and simple to do that. Now this is your list, so this is the list view, and it shows the amount, and hovering over it will show the currency, the subtotal, and any taxes that were paid if they apply, as well as under vendor, it'll show the vendor, the category, and the client that it's assigned to if you've chosen the client as well. And then recurring, repaid, we covered those options. Then you have notes, and it'll show the notes that appear there. And then you're also going to have edit, copy, and delete. So those options are available. The last option that we'll cover before we go over adding an expense is export. Oftentimes your accountant might want you to export these and send them to them in a different format, like a CSV or an Excel file. So you can go in here and click export, choose the date range. If they want something from the start of the year, let's say, so we can scroll back and we'll go January 1st. And then end date, we'll just say they want for the whole year, and then download Excel file. So clicking this, it's going to download the Excel file, and we can get that over to our accountant. Now, adding an expense, pretty straightforward. So we can click on add expense, and we can enter in the amount. Let's say we paid $100. Were there any taxes? If you choose taxes, it's going to automatically calculate the taxes paid for you based on your tax rates that are set under settings, admin, settings and options, look for tax rates. The currency that it's chosen in, if you have multiple cent, the expense date, reference number, this is helpful for when you're searching for an expense. Then you can also choose the vendor. Maybe you have a vendor already set, or you have to create a new one. If this is a new company, let's say, okay, we bought something at Home Depot. So we put that in, that's our new vendor. Then category, you can choose the category, or if you don't have a category that matches, you can create one as well. So we'll put hardware store. Oh no, category I guess would be, equipment. Then you can assign it to a client as well. So if it's assigned to a client, we'll search for the client, select them. If it's not assigned to a client, then you can just simply leave that blank. And then you're going to want to upload your receipt if possible. The government's going to want receipts if you have them, so we highly encourage you to use the file option and add your receipts. Then you choose if this is a recurring event or not. You can add any notes, and then you simply click add expense. So that's it in a nutshell, how you save an expense. This is your expenses view. So you're going to be able to see everything. And then when you have an expense that has a receipt, it'll show up here with a button here that you can download that receipt should you ever need that receipt for proof at some later point. So that's essentially managing your expenses in a nutshell. And then once you've entered your expenses, they're actually going to show up here in your statistics. It's the little yellow one. This is just a demo account, so it doesn't really have anything in it, but you can see in this screenshot, we have basically the expenses showing up there next to everything else, and we can highlight those out, and there there's our expenses blown up. So that's where entering your expenses can really help give you a, an overview of how your business is doing. And then under reports, you're going to have a lot of different reports here as well. That'll show different amounts that factor in your expenses as well. So for example, money out, taxes paid, accounts receivable, so on and so forth. So this is your accounting rundown. This is going to be really helpful. You can see expenses by category, expenses by vendor, and you can see that there.